Way down south in the land of cotton melody untiring, ain't that inspiring? Hurrah, hurrah, we'll join the Jubilee, and that's going some for the Yankees by gum. Red, white, and blue, I am for you, honest, you're a grand old flag. You're a grand old flag, you're a high-flying flag, and forever in peace may you wave.
Hi everybody, this is Refresh the Nerd, and today we'll be talking about the M1956 LCE, or Load Carrying Equipment. Now, I think I messed up one time when I talked about these before. I don't know if it was on a video or if it was on, probably I think it was with someone in person, but I called it load, oh no, I remember, yeah, I called it load bearing equipment. It's load carrying equipment. They sound similar. So I got mixed up. Now, I don't have every single piece of M1956 gear, which I'll talk about. I do know some folks who I think Grayson has all of it. I think, well, besides the cover. No, he has a cover, but he doesn't have the trenching tool. But I know, I'm pretty sure he does have the other two pieces of equipment. Anyways, let's get into some history. So, the M1956 gear was first experimented in 1954. This whole thing happened after the Korean War. We saw that we needed to adopt a new infantry rifle, and as tests began, eventually the M14 would be the likely option, and was eventually actually adopted. And so we wanted to not only make an equipment set specifically for the M14, but also kind of just remodernizing our previous equipment. So in 1954, the EX54 equipment was being experimented with, and that stuff was funky. You have, like, it was a small ammo pouch and a big ammo pouch. These were universal pouches, which technically they are as well. Let's talk about that. Excuse me. Anyways. But they had a big pouch and a small pouch, and it was so weird. I'll have to find I'll put some photos of them. But you had, like, leather straps. It was, like, instead of two grenade holders, it was one, and it was leather, and then they started going to canvas. Here's some freaky stuff. Really, all that's the same from the EX54 stuff is the belt with some minor changes, the butt pack with some minor changes, canteen covers stayed pretty much the same. I think suspenders were pretty much the same with the first aid pouch. The shovel carrier was definitely not, and the ammo pouches were definitely not. Those things changed drastically. Now, I know I have my bed down here. That's not part of M56 equipment. I just have it on there because I'm not taking that off, because I'm lazy. Also, I have no reason to. It would be just for this video, and I have to do all the... Yeah. It's fine. Just ignore that exists. So, yeah. Anyways, in 1957, or no, in 1956, this was the final set. This was the final experimentations, and it was designated the M1956 equipment, or the M1956 load carrying equipment. However, this actually wasn't adopted until, I think it was March of 1957. Interestingly enough. Actually, no, there's one more piece of M1956 equipment I'm missing. I'll get to that in a little bit. So, this is the equipment set that is made for the Army to use with the M14. The Marines would get their M1961 equipment set, and their canteen covers were the M1910. I call them M1945. I don't think that's their actual designation, because I'm pretty sure it's just... They're technically still M1910 canteen covers, because they still have the wire hooks, but they are green instead of tan, or khaki, canvas, whatever. Canvas isn't the color. Anyways, so this is the standard M56 equipment setup. and we will talk about that. What is going on over here? Anyways, so first things first is the pistol belt, which isn't actually all that different from the previous pistol belts of the United States. Our first actual pistol belt, I believe, came out with the 1910 series of equipment, which would be the 1910 belt. I do not have one, although I will actually, and I have no reproductions. Anyways, there was the 1910 belt, which I'll put a photo up of, and then came along the M1936 belt, which is our pistol belt during World War II. And then we came up with this. Now, it's different in a few ways. Its overall look is basically the same. It's canvas with a vertical stitch, a vertical weave. It's got 3 eyelets all around the belt. That's basically the same as all the other belts. A few differences being that the buckle is a little different. They changed it from being a square buckle to a more oval buckle. I can't really show it, but there would be a button snap on, I think, right here, that they got rid of. That was for the M1911's 45 caliber ammunition pouches. Those would snap into the belt as long as they would slide over and snap in, so that they didn't move around. However, with the new system of attachment, which we'll talk about, that could be replaced. That was really the big changes. Of course, later on, the later M1956 belts would be a vertical weave instead of a horizontal weave. This is the first pattern belt. Second pattern just had a vertical weave. Now, there was one thing that also they wanted to do with this was to make it modular, and they very much well did that. A new concept kind of to the United States, well, for the 1900s, was no more cartridge belts. We have used cartridge belts since the Spanish-American War, actually. So, I mean, we've been kind of using cartridge belts for, but we finally are switching to ammunition pouches outside of the belt, which allows for a lot better modularization. The other thing that would allow for that is the new attachment system, which are called slide hooks. They're not Alice clips. They are slide hooks, or slide clips, I think. This was the new design. There was 2 types during the EX54 series. They eventually went with the one that looks similar to this one, but it's not the exact same. And basically every single piece of equipment except that one has 2. That one only has 1. The pouch. And they just slide in with friction and close around the belt. So that's the belt. The suspenders are pretty new. Instead of what it used to be, where we always have these 2 straps of canvas, it's really a big and actual full. This is like a big 1-piece suspender set. These are the M1956 suspenders. These are second patterns. Get to that in a bit. And they're pretty interesting because it's very new in the concept of the United States. So we have 2 big shoulder pads. We have the canvas reinforcement here, back straps, and our front straps. How they adjust is with these little friction keys, which you flip up and move around. They also have these hooks here, which are meant for the M1956 ammunition pouches to attach to keep them from sagging, which they do pretty well, although kind of not really, it's kind of sucks. And then we have these 2 little canvas straps up here where you can attach a first aid pouch, or / compass pouch. I'll get to that in a little bit. Now, the thing is, you have these hooks here, which are actually for the I think it's for the sleeping bag, a sleeping roll holder. Okay, you know what? I'll just get to the 2 things I don't have. So, actually, a couple things. So, the couple things I don't have are the sleeping roll holder, or the sleeping bag holder, the butt pack, not adjusters, it's the butt pack, thingies. They're straps that attach to the suspenders, and then they attach to the butt pack, so you can, instead of having your butt pack here, you can have it up here. And then there is the 20 round, the 20 round magazine pouches for the M16, such these, which are technically for the M14, which I'll get into a bit. And what else was it? Actually, I think that's it. I don't think there's any other M56 gear, like actual standard issue M56 gear. I don't have. Oh, the M56 butt pack. I have the 56-61. Whatever. Anyways, back to the actual equipment. So then we have a simple hook here. And on the first patterns, they were basically the same. They had a hook instead of a clip. However, and this is definitely true, those hooks were prone to falling out on the back. The front, they were fine, but the back, they would fall out. And trust me, you can ask historical stuff. You can ask Grayson from historical stuff Grayson, because yes, they do. When he had them, they were always falling out of his back. He hated it. So they switched to these clips to make them more secure, which definitely does a lot better, and they fit a lot better. Now the compass pouch, or first aid pouch, this is a second pattern. First patterns would not have a eyelet for draining. It's a simple button snap pouch, which can hold a compass or a field dressing. I can never tell when this one goes on, because it doesn't make a loud snapping noise. It just kind of pop. It just goes in. It's really weird. Then we have the ammunition pouches. These are for the M14, technically. They hold 2 20-round magazines of the M14 and could hold 3 to 4 rounds of the, or magazines of the M16. However, they're not made to do that. And you can tell that because when these are shaped around the 20-round mags for the M16, as you can see, they're hard to get out. So what soldiers would do, what I'm going to do, is they would put something at the bottom of the thing to lift, of the pouch, to lift the magazines up so they're easier to get, or you put you get a piece of paracord and you duct tape it and make a loop so that you can just yank it out like Solid would do. That is an option. Now with the ammunition pouches, the first patterns were a lot stiffer. They had stiffeners in them, and they also had an eyelet on the holder. These are both second patterns. They have drain holes and no eyelets. The fun thing about these is they have grenade attachment points. They have 2 loops on the side, which the spools go into, and then these 2 little canvas straps, which hold around the grenade. The canteen pouches, these have stayed the same since the 1910s, since 1910. Only difference for these is we got rid of the wire hooks, and we added the slide keepers. Not only that, the inside material has changed. I think it's changed. I can't remember if it was changed from felt or to felt. I think it was from felt, and I forget what the actual other material is. But we have that. Also, the canteens changed from metal to plastic. Another thing that has changed is we went away from the lift the dot snaps. As you can see, there's no lift the dot snaps anywhere. And we went instead with these simple button snaps, which we actually used a little bit of in the 1910 equipment, the 1910 bandage pouch, and some of the early 1910 belts had pretty much the same. I don't know if they're the exact same, but they are pretty much the same button snaps. which is pretty interesting. We have our first pattern here, which is all canvas, canvas trimming, canvas everything. We have a second pattern here, which is also a two-tone. There is ones that are second patterns that are just straight green. This is a two-tone, so it had the canvas, or the nylon trimming, which is what makes the second pattern, is brown, and the cover is green. And also, I'm pretty sure this is unissued because, like, this isn't, like, pristine condition. This is definitely used. Then we have the butt pack. This is the M56-61. The first M56 butt packs were just slightly different. They were a little bit smaller. I can't remember if this was, like, further back or something, but they were a little bit smaller, and they don't have the rubberized liner. And but the 61 model did, fixed all that. So, yeah. And also they added straps on the bottom here, which would allow you to attach your poncho or other such items underneath. Then we move on to the entrenching tool cover. This went through some interesting developments, and also the M57 entrenching tool cover went through some interesting developments. That's a story for a different day, though. Now, the M56 entrenching tool is pretty similar to the M43 entrenching tool cover, with some slight changes. First things first, the actual entrenching tool has changed a little bit. This is the M51 entrenching tool. The M43 entrenching tool is very similar. The only thing the M51 adds, and the other ones didn't even have it, was that it adds a pick. And I think the actual entrenching tool itself has changed slightly from the M43. The cover, all that changes is it's made more green, changing the color. Oh, excuse me. We get rid of the lifted up and add the button snap. Then we have added leather reinforcements and a attachment point for the bayonet. Also, of course, we've added the slide keepers in the back. And that's really about it. That is the basic M56 equipment, besides the things I don't have. But, yeah, and I don't know too much about those things. I do know one thing. The sleeping roll thing was very disliked and was never really used for its actual purpose. Instead, soldiers would use them in more innovative ways, if they even use them at all. What I've got here for you is the M56 equipment every soldier's using. There's some soldiers who use the sleeping roll stuff. There's some soldiers who use the butt pack adapter. And of course, 20 round mags you see, but those are pretty rare. This is the standard M56 gear for a field use, really, is what I'm portraying here, since I don't have the other things. But, yeah. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.
You're the emblem of the land I love, the home of the free and the brave.